In the chaotic European wars of the 18th century, a professional soldier by the name of Christopher Welsh fought a duel over the honor of a woman, paid a prostitute support because she claimed that he had fathered her child, and hid a surprising secret even from his, or should I say her, closest comrades. Because in the end, a clever person can get around almost any rule.
Born in Ireland in 1667, Christian Kavanagh was the daughter of a wealthy farmer and brewer. She was brought up with a good education, had a hand in taking care of the family farm, where she learned many skills that would serve her later. Notable among them, she was an accomplished horseback rider. But her father had chosen the side of James II in the 1688 War of the Two Kings, and after the Williamites, supporters of William III, forced James to flee, her family's lands and property were confiscated. Kit went to work for her aunt, owned a pub in Dublin. She had a great head for business and inherited the pub after her aunt's death. She married one of her aunt's employees, a man named Richard Welsh, and by 1691 they had a loving marriage, a thriving business, and 2 children, with a third on the way. But one day Richard left on a business errand and didn't return. She and her friends searched, but could not find his whereabouts. Afraid that he had been robbed and killed, Kit was heartbroken. It was another year before she received word. Richard had not been robbed, but had been, as with many young men of his time, tricked and pressed into the army, and was in Europe, fighting against the French in the War of the Grand Alliance. Her options were limited. She could stay where she was, hoping that he would someday return home, or she could follow him to war, and live the squalid life of a camp follower. But Kit, a woman of a strong will, came up with a third option. She left her children in the care of her mother, dressed in some of Richard's clothes, cut her hair, and enlisted in the army, joining a company of foot. She planned to find her husband and buy his freedom. Using the name Christopher Welsh, so that she could claim that she was searching for her brother, Kit was off to war, fighting on the side of William III, the same king that her father had opposed. She was clever and scrupulous, hiding her gender. She had a slight build, so her breasts were easy to conceal. Soldiers of the day slept in their uniforms. Medical care was cursory, and her examination was no more than a quick inspection for pox. She even managed to urinate beside her comrades, using what she described as a silver tube, without being discovered. Her comrades didn't seem to suspect her. She turned out to be a good soldier, owing largely to her intelligence and education. But the life of a soldier was regimented, and she found it nearly impossible to effectively search for her husband. The War of the Grand Alliance, also called the 9 Years' War, was a conflict between an alliance of Great Britain, the Holy Roman Empire, Spain, and the Duchy of Savoy against Louis XIV's France, a war that spanned the world, including North America and India. Kit fought as an infantryman at the 1693 Battle of Landen, a stinging defeat for William and the British, where she received a musket wound to her ankle. She seemed less concerned with the wound than with concealing her sex from the surgeons. A year later, she was with a group of foragers who were surprised and captured by a French patrol. They were only held for a short while before being exchanged, but the risk was discovering her sex, as prisoners often had their uniforms taken away. But once again, she managed to hide her secret, but she would soon face an odd challenge. Like other soldiers, Kit would occasionally go down to a pub in town, and there, both to relieve boredom and to maintain her disguise, she began flirting with a girl from a local village. Kit was surprised when the girl developed feelings for what she believed to be an Irish infantryman. While this created an issue in itself, it became more acute when the girl came to her one day in tears. It seems a sergeant from another company had sought her affections, and upon being rebuffed, had gotten rough with the girl. Kit, who seemed to never take anything lying down, was furious. The sergeant had not just insulted the girl's honor, but had also insulted Kit's honor. Against regulations, she went down to him and demanded satisfaction, easily defeating him in a short sword fight where he cut her hand and she stabbed him in the groin. While there was sympathy that it had been a matter of a maiden's honor, Kit had violated regulations and was jailed. Fortunately, the girl's father turned out to be the local burgher and was able to arrange a pardon. Distressingly, however, the girl now wanted to marry Kit. She had to convince the girl that giving up her life to become a camp follower was foolish. Discharged from her regiment, but still with a good reputation as a soldier and some fame from the duel, she was able to sign up with the Royal Regiment of Scots Dragoons. Dragoons were mounted soldiers who could fight both as infantry and cavalry, and the Royal Regiment was known for riding grey mounts, and so called the Scots Greys. An able writer and a good soldier, Kit thrived in the regiment, where she was often called the pretty Dragoon by men who seemed to have no inkling of her secret. In fact, at one point, a prostitute accused Kit of being the father of her child, demanding support. Rather than reveal her secret to prove the woman wrong, Kit paid, thus further reinforcing her masquerade. She served with the Greys through the end of the war in 1697, which ended with the generally unsatisfactory Treaty of Ryswick, driven more by exhaustion rather than any side achieving victory. After the war, Kit returned to Ireland to find that her middle child had died, but that her mother and other two children were doing well. But she hadn't found Richard and had little financial prospect and appears to have decided not to contact them. War returned in 1701, when the Holy Roman Empire, the Dutch Republic, and Great Britain once again allied against Louis XIV over the crown of Spain, following the death of the Habsburg Emperor Charles II. The War of the Spanish Succession would become another protracted and grueling war on the continent, and Christopher Welsh once again joined the Royal Scots Greys. This time the British were under the command of John Churchill, the Duke of Marlborough. Kit was successful, making good money off of plunder, a privilege of soldiers in the era. She continued to be strong-willed, once costing a corporal an eye after she clubbed him in the face with the butt of her pistol in a fight over a pig. The Greys saw much action in the war, and Kit took a serious wound to the thigh at the 1704 Battle of Schellenberg, the treatment of which nearly resulted in her being discovered. The wound would cause her pain the rest of her life. She was fit for action again a month later in the Battle of Blenheim. The battle was a great victory for Marlborough and had effectively knocked Bavaria out of the war. But it also changed Kit Welsh's life in a startling way. After the battle, she noticed an infantryman who seemed familiar. She had, after 13 years of searching, found her husband Richard. Their reunion was, as you might imagine, somewhat awkward. And to make matters worse, having not heard from his wife for so much time, Richard had promised to marry another woman. He pledged his loyalty, however, to Kit. Kit had become fond of army life, and so they decided that he would give up the other woman, and they would both stay in the army. They could still meet regularly without suspicion, since they claimed to be brothers. The ruse carried them through the indecisive campaigns of 1705, but in May of 1706, two massive armies, more than 120,000 troops combined, met in the Battle of Ramillies. Marlborough commanded a brilliant battle, a decisive victory that, along with other Allied victories, briefly looked like it might force Louis to sue for peace and bring an end to the war. But it was also the end of Kit's charade. Struck by a stray shell near the end of the battle, her skull was fractured. It had to be trepanned, meaning a hole drilled to relieve pressure. She survived what would have been a very deadly procedure in that era, but in the course of treatment, the surgeon discovered her secret. Her comrades were stunned. She had been a soldier for more than a decade, and none of them suspected, not even her tent mate, who recalled her taking responsibility for the prostitute's pregnancy. According to a biography purportedly written by her in 1740, her commander, George Preston, exclaimed, "I'd always looked upon you as the prettiest fellow and the best man I had." But Kit couldn't stay in the army, but her regiment still had affection for her, and now revealed, she and Richard could again live together as man and wife. She became a sutler, foraging for food and liquor and other amenities and selling her wares to soldiers. And she was good at it, always having a good head for business. She made good money, and she and Richard seemed to legitimately rediscover their affection. She had another child, but it died in infancy. She remained as spirited as ever. When a smug officer struck one of her employees in a fight over a goose, she grabbed him by the collar and flipped him over so hard that she broke his leg. When she caught Richard with another woman, she drew a knife and cut the woman's nose off. Once an officer mocked her after her horse was startled. Her pride hurt, she challenged him to a horse race. Knowing that his cavalry horse was far faster than her sutler's horse, he accepted, including a substantial wager. As the race started, she turned her horse into his, kicked his foot from the stirrup, and pushed him out of the saddle, winning the race and the bet, as his fellow officers cheered. But tragedy struck at the 1709 Battle of Malplaquet, a bloody battle and Pyrrhic victory for the Alliance. Richard was among the nearly 6,500 Allied soldiers to die in the battle. She searched the battlefield for his body, turning over more than 200 corpses before finding him, to give him a proper burial. She was inconsolable. She continued with the army. She married another soldier, who was then killed in battle in 1710. She had a relationship with Captain Ross of her old regiment of dragoons, although they never married. She became affectionately known as Mother Ross by the troops. In 1712, she returned to England.
Kit returned to Dublin to reunite with her mother, who at 100 years old was still alive and overjoyed to find out that her daughter was too. Kit's oldest daughter had passed away, and her youngest son had been sent to a workhouse years previously, and all of her properties and businesses were long gone. She relied heavily on charity from former soldiers and nobles that she knew in the military. Eventually, she remarried a fellow retired soldier by the name of Davies, but he turned out to be lazy and drained her resources while offering little in return. She passed away in 1739 at the age of 72, was buried with full military honors. Much of what we know about her comes from the book The Life and Adventures of Mrs. Christian Davies, which was purportedly written by her, although the authorship is questioned and it may have included exaggerations. But by any standard, the life and adventures of Kit Cavanagh are extraordinary. An individual personality that was proof that a person can be whomever or whatever they want to be, regardless of society's expectations. I hope you enjoyed watching this episode of The History Guy, and if you did, please feel free to like and subscribe and share The History Guy with your friends. And if you also believe that history deserves to be remembered, then you can support The History Guy as a member on YouTube, a supporter on our community at Locals, or as a patron on Patreon. You can also check out our great merchandise shop or book a special message from The History Guy on Cameo.